regime has actively undermined regional and international stability, including attacks on freedom of navigation and maritime security in the Gulf and the Red Sea. They just shut down Hormuz Straits. They are shooting by their proxies tankers. They are threatening the world flow of energy. Just 2 days ago, Iran attacked oil facilities and refineries in Saudi Arabia, further destabilizing the global markets of energy. Also Qatar. They attacked the Qatar. They are saying, the foreign minister is saying, we attack only American bases. No. They attack civilians. They attack oil refineries. They attack the free world. That's what they do. Iranian-backed proxies have also disrupted international trade routes in recent years, actions that have undermined global energy security, including of Japan. When the Houthis are firing at the Red Sea, at ships, tankers, it's by instructions from Iran, period. That's it. At the same time, the regime continues to advance its military nuclear program while repeatedly declaring its intention to destroy Israel and confront the West. The objective of the operation is to remove, over the long term, the existential threats posed to Israel by Iran, primarily in the nuclear and ballistic missile domains. We are targeting military objectives and regime assets, including nuclear infrastructure, missile systems, and the military industry. Our goal is to significantly and sustainably reduce Iran's ability to harm Israel. It is important to emphasize that while we are targeting military objectives and regime assets, Iran and its proxies are targeting civilians. 9 Israelis were killed in Israel in the beginning of the week because they are targeting civilians. After a careful strategic assessment, we concluded that while action carries risks, it does, inaction carries far greater risks. Not to ask was far more problematic and dangerous. Without action, Iran would reach a zone of immunity in both the nuclear and ballistic missiles arenas, a situation in which the threat could no longer be neutralized, even by advanced military capabilities. Now, you can see, I was mentioning before, you can see in the map how they are launching their attacks in the Middle East and in Europe. This is what President Trump has said before. They are developing their program that one day it will reach the United States of America. And one day it can reach also this region. They became a destabilizing power of the world. And this is what we have to eliminate now. I want to say something regarding history. You know, we learn from history. We've learned 90 years ago that when we don't listen to leaders in Europe that threaten to eliminate Jews just because they are Jews, it happens. And 6 million of my people were eliminated by the Nazis. Now the same regime that is carrying out its vicious intentions, saying that Israel has no right to live, death to Israel, death to America, acquiring nuclear weapon, acquiring the means to launch it, and circulating Israel in a ring of fire, no country in the world would have tolerated it. And we will exercise our right to defend ourselves. If similar and decisive action had been taken in Northeast Asia in real time, North Korea would not be nuclear today and would pose no missile threat to its neighbors. That's a lesson from history. The action should have been taken way before, 30 years ago, with North Korea. And see what happens today. The Iranian regime has relocated key elements of its nuclear program deep underground, specifically to prevent their neutralization. And I'm asking the question, they are lying, saying we don't want to have a nuclear weapon. So why do you hide them in mountains? Why do you hide it in bunkers if it's only for peaceful purposes? Why do you lie? You don't have enough energy? At the same time, ballistic missile production has accelerated, with systems also being placed deep underground to ensure operational immunity from attack. The conclusion is clear. The longer one waits, the greater the threat becomes, and the harder it becomes to stop it. We had to act, and we had to do it. It was the 90th minute. Steve Witkoff, President Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, revealed that during the negotiations in Geneva and Muscat, Oman, Iran representatives openly said, we have 460 kilograms of enriched uranium up to 60%, which is enough to produce 11 nuclear weapons. They said it. According to him, this was Iran's opening position in the negotiations. This underscores how advanced and dangerous Iran's nuclear program had become and why the urgency to act was real. I want to speak about the cooperation with the United States. The operation is being conducted in close coordination between Israel and the USA. We thank President Trump and US forces for their amazing work and what they do. And they do it to defend the free world and to defend the values that we all care about. The strategic and security coordination between the two countries, Israel and the US, is unprecedented and is based on a shared intelligence assessment of the intentions of the Iranian regime. Both countries share the understanding that this is about neutralizing an existential threat posed by a regime that consistently seeks Israel's destruction and undermines regional and international stability. I would finalize it with saying something about the context of Japan. I'm the ambassador to Japan. We welcome Japan's clear and principled position that Iran must never be allowed to develop nuclear weapons, a principle that is vital for global security. On Monday, I met Foreign Minister Motegi and we discussed the evolving security situation. I also want to thank Japan that after Operation Rising Lion back in June 25 said that Iran must never have a nuclear weapon, and that Iran is the #1 country to destabilize the Middle East. You can read it in the declaration of the G7 after the 12 Days War, or during the 12 Days War. It also, Japan then underscored and said publicly within the G7 statement that Israel has the right to defend itself. And what we are doing now, together with the United States, we are defending not only Israel, we are defending other countries in the Middle East, and we are defending the stability in the Middle East. I assured Minister Motegi when we met that Israel will do everything possible to assist and ensure the safety and security of Japanese citizens in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We will now move on to the Q&A session. Please raise your hand if you have a question. When called upon, please use one of our microphones. State your name and affiliation, and keep your question concise, and limit yourself to one question. We'll start with members. Yes, sir.
Takuya Nishimura, freelance journalist. Is Israel's attack on Iran is based on the collective self-defense with the United States or individual self-defense for Israel itself? Thank you.
Well, Israel is acting out of its own strategic interest and security interest. Of course, we coordinated it with the United States. The coordination was unprecedented. And I think we both of us, both the United States and Israel, I will not speak about on behalf of the United States. You can ask it to the ambassador of the United States. But I will tell you that the cooperation between the US and Israel is unprecedented. We are doing what President Trump and President Netanyahu said so many times. And other leaders also in this region said it. Peace out of strength. If you want peace, you have to be strong. We don't want to hit no one that is unnecessary. We want just to live in peace, but we have to be strong. And we exercise our right to defend ourselves. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I'm a South Korean journalist, Asia Today Tokyo correspondent, Choi Young-jae. Mr. Ambassador, you mentioned concerns about North Korea's missile cooperation with actors in the Middle East, about North Korea's missile cooperation in the Middle East. From the Israel's perspective, how serious is the link between North Korea's missile program and Iran or its proxies? What role do you think countries like South Korea should play in preventing such proliferation?
Thank you. What precisely I mentioned is that similar decisive action if it had been taken in Northeast Asia in real time, North Korea wouldn't have had nuclear capability today and would pose no missile threat to its neighbors. Now you asked me about the cooperation between Iran and North Korea. So we had in the past some reports about cooperation, about things that are evolving. There is, you can see that there are cooperations between countries in the region. We are very much concerned about this area. You saw North Korean soldiers fighting in Ukraine, and this cooperation is very troubling. I believe that South Korea, a friend and a partner of Israel, and the United States and others, have their own thinking about how to cope with this North Korean regimes that is posing a threat to this region, unfortunately. I think that the talks are being done not here in the press, but in channels that are suitable for it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for Ambassador for coming. My name is Shigenori Tanihira, freelance journalist. I have two questions, okay? First question is Prime Minister Takaichi is scheduled to visit Washington, D.C. On the 19th of this month for a summit meeting with President Trump. What specific expectation does the Israeli government have for the Japanese side? First question. And second question, our colleague, the NHK's Tehran bureau chief is detained by the Iranian authorities. The location is said to be even prison in Tehran, where the political prisoners are held. Reuters news agency reported that near this prison, bombings were carried out by the U.S. and Israel forces, and causing severe damage. Regarding the safety of the NHK Tehran bureau chief, Do you have any information about that? If you have, please make it clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, regarding Prime Minister Takaichi's visits to Washington, I hope it will be a constructive dialogue. And I believe that the situation in the Middle East is going to be discussed as well between her and between Prime Minister Takaichi and President Trump. And we look forward to a very fruitful and good dialogue between the two sides. As I said before, we thank Japan, we thank Takaichi government and Prime Minister Takaichi and Foreign Minister Motegi for the stand that Iran must never have a nuclear weapon. We hope that all Japanese citizens will be secured, including the reporter from NHK. I said to Foreign Minister Motegi when I met him, we are going to do everything in our power to protect and to make safe the Japanese citizens and the Japanese nationals, not only in Israel but also in other places in the Middle East. So I don't have any news regarding him. I do not know exactly his whereabouts. I hope he and all Japanese citizens will be secured. I expect, it's not only from Japan, I think I expect from all the like-minded countries to see the day that we are facing today. These are historic days today. Historic days. And if we stand all united, and the Iranian people can be liberated from the chains of tyranny for over 46 years, and Iran will go in the path of peace, of building its nation, of investing in universities, in science, in culture. It's a great nation with a great history, the Iranian people. And not posing threats to no one, not investing in nuclear weapons, in missiles. Imagine the Middle East, where all of the Middle East partners can sit together, can cooperate together, can work for better mankind, on health, on science, on infrastructure, on investments, on trade agreements. Yes, including with Iran. Why not? This is the time when all of us have to stand together and stand by the people and by the countries, meaning the United States and Israel, that are fighting now to have a better Middle East, to have a better region, to have a better world. And this fighting, this confrontation is not going to be endless. We don't want to fight forever. And we believe that through these historic days happening now, peace it can have an open gate for a broader peace in the Middle East. Abraham Accords to be expanded. Yes, we do want peace with Saudi Arabia. Yes, we do want it with Kuwait, with Oman, with Qatar, with everybody there. We want them to join our great peace agreements that we have with United Arab Emirates, with Bahrain, with Morocco. We seek peace. We seek stability. But you had to confront the number one enemy of civilization, of freedom, of human rights, of peace and stability. And that's the time, and the time has come. So I said it in a broader sense, not about exactly that President Takaichi, President Trump meeting, but all of these like-minded countries to stand. And we hope that they will stand by the United States and they will stand by Israel. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador. My name is Musashi from TV Asahi. I want to ask about firstly about this operation. President Trump has said this operation could last more than 4 or 5 weeks. From Israel's perspective, how long does Israel intend to continue it? And what is the ultimate objective of this operation? Second question is about diplomacy. Iran's ambassador to Japan has said Iran will never negotiate under aggression. Is there any possibility that Israel would open to the diplomacy? Thank you.
Well, regarding your first question, the time that needed is as long as it takes. Again, it is not going to be an endless war, and I don't want to give time estimations, but as long as it takes, because we want to reach the point where Iran nuclear program is rolled back to zero. No enrichment, no hiding, and just to be sure that they are not going to have a nuclear weapon, because we are not going to accept it. Also, the missile program has to be contained, has to be rolled back, and not to pose a threat anymore for the region, of course, for Israel, and you saw even for Europe, targeting Europe and Cyprus. Once we achieve these goals, we can see how we can proceed. If this is what the ambassador of Iran is saying, it's what he's saying. I'm not the interpreter for what he's saying. I'm just saying very, very, very clear. We are not going to stop until this, what we want and what we need, is to be fulfilled. You know, we've been there in June. We stopped it, and immediately, the Iranians, after the war, 12 days war was ended, immediately they started to re-engage in having more missiles, extending the range of the missiles, hiding their nuclear program and trying to hide it and and of course to keep their 460 kilograms up to 60%. This will not happen anymore. It has to end. And a new policy should be taken there by whoever is going to control Iran. And I want to say something else about Iran. People are asking me about regime change. The military tasks of this operation is what I said to you right now. The issue of regime change, of course, if there will be a leadership of Iran that will be supportive of peace, will be engaging with the world in a good faith. Stop oppressing people. Don't hang your people. Put political prisoners. Violating human rights. Hanging homosexuals. If you stop this, I think the Iranian people, as a free people, will have the way to do it. So it's an opening. We're trying to open also the gate, and if it happens, it has to be decided only by the Iranian people. I speak on behalf of the State of Israel. We cannot change the regime ourselves. This is not we cannot. It has to come from inside, from the Iranian people. And I hope for the day, I yearn for the day that the Iranian people would live free, without persecution, without being tortured, without being killed in the streets, only because they called for freedom. That's the only thing they did. The only sin they did. They called for their freedom. They want to be free. They wanted their money. They wanted their investment, their taxes, not to go to Hezbollah, not to go to Hamas, to murder children and to rape women in Israel. They wanted their resources to go for good things, for being invested in their own universities, society, laboratories, culture. They deserve it. So the Iranian ambassador here in Tokyo, what does he represent? Is he okay with it? To kill 32,000 people in the streets, is he okay with it? Is he okay with the calls, death to America, death to Israel? What kind of a regime he's representing here? Is he okay with a regime that take the money of his own people? And you see, and you know how much the economy of Iran is in a deep problem. You see the value of the real there. You see what the inflation, the unemployment. Why? Why not to invest in your own people? Instead of investing for 46 years in terrorism, in death, in misery, in oppression the human rights of your own people, and eventually slaughtering them by tens of their thousands. I would be ashamed to represent this kind of regime. Thank you.
Ambassador, once the immediate threat is ended, what different scenarios do you see, both good and bad, for the next step?
I don't want to. It's a good question, but unfortunately, I cannot predict. That's things for the Iranian people to decide. I do not want to portray what kind of, because there are many sectors inside Iran, many minorities, things where you can evolve in different ways because we are still in the wake of a war. So I do hope, what I do hope, is a country that we can live in peace with. A regime, whatever it is, that Iranian people can select or can choose for their own self to who to lead them, because at the end, a country should decide on its own leaders, not other countries should decide it. But leadership that will be a leadership of Iran that will be willing and accepting the noble cause of leading the great Iranian people, great people with great history, with so many things that they invented in the past and gave it to the mankind. Be worth, a leadership that will be worth to this great nation. And that this leadership should say, we don't want any nuclear weapon, we don't want to threat, we can have even diplomatic relations with Israel. Yes, why not? Of course, with America, with others. We will work together with the Gulf states, with Israel, with others, with the West, on how to promote mankind and how to invest. I would be very, very happy to see the post-war Iranian economy going up for the sake of their own people. But in a good way, not going up in investing in terrorism. Going up in the thing that I said before, about the investment in real good things for mankind and humanity. So my expectation is that this leadership will lead the way for resuming the good behavior that was before the Islamic Revolution in 1979. You remember we spoke about before, 1979, the hostages crisis, that they took hostages, American hostages. And then you remember how they bombed not only us in Buenos Aires in 1992, AMIA and our embassy. They killed Israelis all over the world. They killed civilians from America, from Europe, from others. This just spreading death in the world, spreading misery. Change it, and I think the Iranian people deserve a better future.
And if leadership emerges in Iran that the U.S. and Israel does not approve of, do you think it's likely that military attacks will continue against Iran?
If we have the same, same regime or just made changes, so what did we do? How can we change the situation? I don't think that this is something that this is what we looked for. We engage in this war not in order to get the same of the same kind. More ayatollahs that will oppress their people, invest in terrorism, invest in nuclear weapons and long-range missiles. That's not our aim. So I hope after this war there will be a new reality in the Middle East.
Okay. I'm going to ask one question before we go to more questions outside. A question online from Peter Langen, former president, I believe, and freelance journalist. Commentary out of Washington suggests that U.S. intelligence services have given Israel a so-called no-kill list of Iranian officials. These are reportedly individuals the U.S. believes it can work with in a future administration in Iran. can you confirm the existence of a no-kill list and perhaps mention who is on it?
I cannot. Sorry.
Okay, understood. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rocky Swift with Reuters. U.S. intelligence a year ago, March 2025, said that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. And then in June, after strikes by the U.S., President Trump said that they had completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear program. So how do you reconcile those claims with the urgency for the strikes that you mentioned a few minutes ago? And in effect, how could U.S. intelligence community and Trump have been so wrong less than a year ago? Thank you.
Iran is trying to have a nuclear weapon. If you don't want to have a nuclear weapon and it's just for peaceful purposes, why do you need 60% of enrichment? If you want it for medicine, 3% is enough, 1% is enough. Why do you hide it underneath tunnels, bunkers, 60 meters in mountains? They want nuclear weapon. It was very, very clear, and it is very, very clear to us. I'm speaking on behalf of the Israeli intelligence. And the Israeli intelligence is saying very clear, they want nuclear weapon. That's very clear. They want nuclear weapon, they want long-range missiles to carry out this weapon, and they call death to Israel. Now, if you don't have a nuclear weapon, why do you have this, we call it arming group? Why do you need it? Why do you make in Parchin tests? How do you minimize the nuclear facilities, the enriched uranium, into a bomb? That's a nuclear weapon. That's very clear. And I just want to quote Envoy Witkoff, who said, we have enough enriched uranium, up to 60%, that you don't need for any other cause but your nuclear weapon, for 11 bombs. So they wanted to have a nuclear weapon. Now, the operation in June was a very successful one. And the facilities of them in Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordo were really damaged very, very hard. And but again, they still had the 460 kilograms of enriched uranium that was maybe buried underneath somewhere, but they still have it. So what they did is that after this war, they didn't say, okay, that's enough with it. That's enough. That's enough for us. We got the message from the United States, from Israel. We don't want any nuclear weapon. We don't lie anymore. We don't deceive anymore. By the way, you can ask the IAEA. The IAEA is saying that there is no other explanation, but somebody is hiding its nuclear ambitions in Iran. After they did it, what they did now, they said, okay, we have a problem with what happened to us. So what we are going to do now is two things. One, to make sure that the continuing nuclear enrichment will be safe and will be underground, deep, deep, deep inside, that even the bombs of the United States cannot penetrate. And second, let's have more and more and more missiles. And these missiles, let's have them in large numbers that Israel cannot defend itself. And second, to have it in much longer distance. Now, we have very good systems that can protect Israel, and we are exercising it. And I think that these systems can be also used or be experimented also in other regions, including in the Indo-Pacific. So the same architecture that is defending now the Middle East, not only Israel, but also our colleagues from the GCC can also be here and defend Japan, defend others, as part of the architecture of free and open Indo-Pacific. Thank you.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Nishimura once again. Now, Israel looks like facing two kinds of conflicts. One in Gaza and another in Iran. Do you think they are interconnected, or do you expect that the war in Iran slow down or accelerate Gaza peace plan? Thank you.
Well, regarding Gaza, the war has ended in last October, and last hostage, his body was released, and we got him back home, so no hostages in Gaza anymore. Gaza, this October 7 happened because also, it was sponsored and supported by Iran that wanted to stop because there were real talks about peace, maybe Saudi Arabia and others. And so it served also their purposes when Sinwar launched the brutal terrorist attack on Israel. Israel adheres to Trump's 20 points plan. We adhere to each and every word of it. We want to go forward. Hamas has to be dismantled. That's it. There's no other option that Hamas can be holding its weapon. There was the Peace Council now in Washington last month, and we were there, Israel was there, part of it. And we hope that there will be continuation of troops coming in, Hamas giving its weapon, and Gaza to be de-radicalized and demilitarized. That's what's important to Israel. And we adhere to it. And now Hamas has to be demilitarized on one way or another. It can be in the good way, in the nice way, or it can be in other way. But we are not going to accept it anymore. Hamas is not going to be armed. And I think if he's disarmed and out of Gaza, I think a better future would arise to the Palestinian people. Now, you asked me about if Iran is, the Iranian leadership is out of the game, this vicious leadership of murderers. I think it will have great implication, and it will be a positive one, because the number one sponsor of terrorism, which is the mullahs in Tehran, will be out. No money to Hezbollah, no support to Islamic Jihad, not to the Hamas, not to the Houthis, no missiles and other explosives to be given to them by the Iranians. So the axis of terror, the head of the octopus, is going to be hit. And when the head is hit, the arms cannot function. And that's why I think that if we have a successful operation in Iran, which means that Iran is going to change dramatically in 180 degrees their behavior and their support of proxies, I believe that good things can happen not only to Gaza, also to Lebanon. We want to have peace with Lebanon. Hezbollah has hijacked Lebanon, like the mullahs in Tehran hijacked their people, and the Houthis in Yemen. And I think that if they are not going to be supported anymore, I think in time, I hope not a long time, they will crumble and they will lay down its weapon, and Lebanon can have peace with Israel. Syria can have peace with Israel. Yes, this is what we want. We want a stabilized Middle East with peace to everybody and prosperity to everybody. That's what we want. And Hezbollah made a mistake by attacking us, and we are going to retaliate, and we are going to strike back. And again, this is very unfortunate for the Lebanese people. Thank you.
I'll ask a quick online question just because it relates to Gaza. Has the media reaction to Israel's attack on Iran differed in any way from the media reaction to Israel's attacks on Gaza?
Again, sorry?
Has the media reaction been different in attacking Gaza and attacking Iran?
Well, I think the response from the world was, again, if you remember, after October 7, October 8, the world media and the world leadership was very much supportive of Israel. They knew that we were attacked and that we had to defend ourselves. I don't know exactly how to evaluate now because it's very fresh now, the world. There are reports. Of course, there are some media that are calling to Israel and to the US to stop and criticizing us, but I think many of them understand that this has to end. The evil regime has to end, We have to stop it. So I understand the media. I understand what's happening, and sometimes there are casualties. If there are civilians, this is not our intention. We do not want to target no one is uninvolved. On the other hand, you see how Iran is trying to target not only us, but other in the Middle East civilians. Media is important, but our life for us is more important. We want to live. We just want to live. That's it. And this is what we did with Hamas. Unfortunately, it took us more than 2 years, but we have all our hostages back, and Hamas is in its position, and we hope that Hamas will give us its weapon, because we are not going to accept it. If somebody thinks that we forgot about Gaza because of Iran, you have a mistake. We did not forget. We will not forget. And we are not going to tolerate, and I think no nation in the world should tolerate it. Imagine if Japan had a neighboring country, who says for decades, death to Japan. And this country acquiring that Japan should be eliminated. This is what they say. And acquiring nuclear weapon, missiles, and also circulating into these proxies of terrorists that will attack you day in, day out. Would you accept it? No. You cannot accept it. I invite you to be in my shoes for a while. So this criticism of some of circles in the media, all right. What would they say if there is an atomic bomb on Tel Aviv from Iran? Is it okay? They will condemn it? Okay, they will condemn it, but I'm going to be dead. So unfortunately, I'm not going to accept it. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for me. And that's it. We've learned from the past, as I said. No more, never again. And never again is now. Never again. Never again there will be leaders in the world that is calling to the destruction of my country, of the Jews, and I'll be silent. And I will say, please, why do you do this? Never again it happens. And if needs to act, we act. And thank God we have President Trump, the leader of the free world, that is leading us, that is leading this campaign and this war, and taking his responsibility to defend the free world against this tyranny of the Ayatollahs in Tehran. Thank you.
Thank you. That last question was from Fred Varco, journalist, by the way. Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming, Ambassador. I'm Louis Sasaki, professor of Leitag University. I have a simple question. That President Trump has not decided to send U.S. ground troops to Iran. Is regime change possible without sending in ground troops? Thank you.
Well, you have the campaign now is mostly aerial one. I don't know, and I do not want to go into tactics of ground operations or not. As I said before, and again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the United States, so these questions should be asked the official representative of the United States of America. What I'm saying is that we are trying to open the gateway for the Iranian people, to give them the support needed for them to decide their own destiny, for them to replace this evil regime, to them to be free, to them to be prosperous. And I hope for the day that it will come. Regarding tactical issues of yes, ground operations or not, I will not comment on this. But I do say that I think we should thank President Trump. He promised more than a few weeks ago, help is on the way, and now help is coming to the Iranian people. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Hi, thank you very much for coming, Ambassador. I'm Kenji Kawase of Nikkei. Okay, my question is with regard to China. I understand that overnight there was a talk between Chinese Foreign Minister, Mr. Wang Yi, and the counterpart, the Israeli Foreign Minister. And according to what I read in the Chinese announcement, there was a line from Mr. Wang Yi telling the Israeli counterpart that the might, the military power, should not be used on battlefield, but to use it to prevent wars. That is according to them what they said. And also, they are in the position that they're against this military action. So they are one of the 5 permanent members. How are you dealing with the Chinese on this front? Because, and also the Chinese are buying, one of the major buyers of Iranian oil. And by the way, was this part of the Israeli objective for the attack as well, to block off the Chinese from buying, to cut off one of the sources of Chinese oil, Iran being one of the largest, I guess? Would you please tell us on that front, Russia as well, your relationship with Russia, and they are sort of taking a similar stance with China on this front. Thank you very much.
Well, there was indeed a phone conversation between Chinese and Israeli foreign minister. Foreign Minister Saar is conducting phone calls to many of the foreign ministers around the world to explain our position and to coordinate. Well, if Chinese foreign minister is saying that strength is only to prevent wars, all right, but if somebody on the other side is trying to attack you, if you see a missile is going to attack you, and you know positively that this missile in 1 hour is going to attack your soil, your people, are you allowed to attack him, yes or no? That's a self-defense, and Israel is using its power in order to defend itself, in order to make sure that these missiles are not going to be shot at us. That's very clear. Or to obliterate the nuclear facilities of Iran in order for them not to have a nuclear weapon that can be used against us. So we have a difference of opinions with China. Yes, we do know that I'm a member of the P5, but so does the United States of America. So they are also a permanent member of the Security Council. So this is not what we are worried about, the Security Council right now. We want the Iranian regime to stop its policy of destruction and death. That's what we want. Regarding, you asked me about the oil, well, the Iranians just they want to stop Hormuz, to block Hormuz Strait. But this oil is not going only to Iran, to China. It's going to the world. It's going to Japan as well. So I don't think I don't think that we did it in order to block. On the contrary, we wanted the continuation of the flow of gas, of oil. We wanted that the Gulf states will have their airports functioning, not closed because of the Iranian missiles against them. So I don't think that this is true. But again, what the Iranians are doing, this is what I said in the beginning in the opening remarks. What they are doing now is threatening the world. It's threatening the world economy by firing at tankers, by targeting the oil fields of Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and by closing the Hormuz Straits. And it implies to all of us. Now, regarding Russia, our position with Russia is well known. Regarding Ukraine, we said it so many times before. We just voted in favor of a resolution, Ukraine resolution at the UN. We heard them also. We heard the countries that are calling to stop. We asked ourselves, okay, if we stop, so what next? Another mullahs that will come and threaten us, another mullahs that will try to have nuclear weapon and long-range missiles and proxies. Okay, stop and what? So we have different of opinions with Russia and with China. Okay, not everybody has to be on the same page with us. Thank you.
Questions? Maybe time for one more question? Okay, sir.
Thank you so much for the second opportunity. I want to ask about the new supreme leader in Iran. According to you, what you said is the program in Iran is a mirror. So if the next supreme leader will be the mirror, maybe reportedly maybe the son of the Ayatollah Khamenei will be the how did you say, like
successor?
Yeah, will be the successful or like a candidate for the new supreme leader. What is the Israeli approach to the Iran if it happened?
Well, first of all, thank you. I don't know who is going to succeed Ali Khamenei, and I don't want to go into specific names. The policy has to be changed. That's it. Now, who is going to lead Iran? It's for the Iranians to decide, not for me to decide. And I hope that they will decide leaders that want peace, want stability, want investment, want to have their economy flourishing, and their kids going to school and the universities and contributing to their own people and to mankind. That's what I think. That's what we want. Who is going to lead Iran, as I said before, is for the Iranian people to decide. I won't go into names, but the policy has to change, period.
So the whether Mura or not, it doesn't matter?
Again, I'm not going to enter who is going to lead Iran and who is if the clerics should lead or democracy or others. It's to the Iranian people to decide for themselves. And whoever is going to decide that they want him to be the leader, it's for them to decide and for them to say, I hope this leadership will be worthy of this great people, great nation, that we lead them in the good way, in the good path of stability, of economic flourishment, of investments, of opening to the West and to their neighbors, and being a partner in the Middle East rather than what we have faced in the last 46 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador. And we have, I believe, a guest membership for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you for everyone for joining us today. And please remain seated until our guest has left the room. And join me in a round of applause to thank our guest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Join you out.
لما تكبرها ما في بنايات هون عالية مجمع إلا هون هي أوطى منها هي أوطى منها هي قدامنا نفس هون لحد ذاك البيت الأصفر شوف الأصفر يعني فوقيه هيك شوية المفروض يعني إذا هيك هاي يعني بلوكين 3 إذا كانت هي فعلا خلينا نشوف بعض هنا راح نتفرج إن شاء الله انتبه